Hello everyone and welcome to EduAiTutors. I am Divya and today we are going to look at the biology topics from your subject science. I hope you are all well prepared for your exams. If you are nervous or if you are worried about revision, don't worry, we are here and together we are going to try and simplify this as much as possible for you to ace your exams. But having said that, make sure you're focused, keep a pen and a paper ready, note down significant points, important points and shortcuts and tricks that can help you remember your answers faster. Alright, so having said this, let's not waste time, let's get started. The first topic from biology that you have studied is life processes. Yes or no? Now what was life processes? Let's do a quick recap. All those processes, maintenance processes that help keep a body alive. Correct? Like if you take a look at normal survival, you will need food to survive, nutrition, then you will need respiration, you will need respiratory gases, correct, for oxygen and carbon dioxide. Further, what you also see is that there is transportation to take care of all the nutrients going there. Excretion, removal of all possible nitrogenous wastes, right? We're going to address this individually, children. Let's take a look at what kind of organisms are we studying. We know that there is unicellular organism, single cell organisms like amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and multicellular organisms like we see all the organisms around us, dogs, cats, humans, probably even Spirogyra. Even though you can't see them, they're still multicellular. But when you see these organisms, what we observe is single cell organisms. What's important? Remember, entire surface of that single cell organism is in direct contact with the environment. Please remember that, very important. But what happens with multicellular? Cells are not in contact with the environment. Keep this in mind, children. This can be important for a certain reason. Because multicellular organisms do not have their cells in direct contact with the environment, which means they cannot directly access the necessary respiratory gases. They cannot directly eliminate the harmful toxins. They cannot directly get the digest or nutritive material. For that, we have specialized body parts. Alright, the specialized body parts in multicellular organisms will bring about all the necessary maintenance life processes. Okay, and then remember, if there are digestive nutrients which are generated, respiratory gases, or even if it is the toxins which are generated, transportation. This will make sure that all these things are transported to the respective specialized parts in multicellular organisms. Clear? So quickly, unicellular, single celled, surface body, entire surface is in direct contact with the environment, correct? And this is why they do not have specialized body parts. But when you see multicellular, what is happening? Quick, no cells in direct contact, a need for specialized body part. Easy? Clear? Let's go. When you see the first process, nutrition. What do you know about nutrition? See, we already know that if you are fasting, if you are angry with your parents and you think, I am not going to eat food, do you feel energetic? Do you feel that you have energy? If you are starving right now, will you be able to focus? No, right? So when you see nutrition, children, what is this? The process of transfer of energy source. What is your energy source? Food, correct? Food is your energy source. So the food which is available outside, you need to put it in your body. It has to go inside. And we are not just talking about multicellular organisms. We are not just talking about animals. We are talking about unicellular organisms as well as plants and animals together. Correct? So here what we see, we need nutrition for the body growth, for body development and also synthesis of essential nutrients. All important nutrients, proteins, carbohydrate, mineral, vitamins. Correct? Now what you see, children, even though we are inactive, you may think only running or only working or only studying needs nutrients. No. Even when you're sleeping, when you're inactive, your heart is beating, digestion is happening, your excretory system, nervous system is still functioning. All of that needs energy. So even if you're inactive, you will still need the food source. You will still need energy. Alright. Further, please remember, all the organisms will have a general requirement of food. But how they obtain it, that will differ. Be it plants, be it animals, be it unicellular microscopic, all need nutrients. They will just have different ways of obtaining them. Okay, let's go further. So let's look at the first type of nutrition. You've got autotrophic nutrition, that's one, and then you've got heterotrophic nutrition, that's the second class. Two basic categories. Autotrophic nutrition, please remember, we are looking at the organisms called like green plant. Right? There are certain other organisms also who have a specific pigment. That pigment is going to help them make their own food. Alright, so what do you see here, children? There is a process called as photosynthesis. I hope you remember what is photosynthesis. We see the process by which raw materials like carbon dioxide and water are converted into carbohydrates. But this cannot be done randomly. It has to be done in the presence of sunlight. Even if you have sunlight, you still need a pigment, chlorophyll. Okay, so who can do this? Green plants, right? So green plants can carry out photosynthesis because they have chlorophyll. Alright, they are the ones who have chlorophyll, which is why. Repeat that in your mind. And remember, for your grade 10th, this equation is very important. If you are writing about photosynthesis, if you are writing about autotrophic nutrition, you are expected to write this equation. And most of the times, we see equations like this. What is the mistake here? Look, you have the raw materials. What are the raw material of photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide, CO2, H2O, correct? You are getting glucose, C6H12O6. You are also getting oxygen as the byproduct. Something that the animals use, right? But the mistake here, one, is the arrow. Sometimes children just put this big line. You have to show that this is the raw material. This is getting converted to this. Do not make the mistake of skipping this. Second mistake, what do you see here? Where is sunlight? Where is chlorophyll? Alright, so you have to write this. Do not skip it. This is your entire equation. Having said that, generally students don't make this mistake of skipping out the balance. Don't do that, okay? 6 CO2, 6 H2O, C6H12O6 and 6O2. This is a balanced chemical equation for photosynthesis. You are expected to know. Another possible question you might be asked, what are the raw materials? What are the raw materials for photosynthesis? Again, repeat. Carbon dioxide, water. Carbon dioxide, water. Alright. What are the products? Glucose. This is the food. This is the plant's food. And what is oxygen? That's a byproduct which we use. Plants are very generous. Alright. So here, when you see photosynthesis, how does it take place? We'll do a quick recap, okay? First, there is going to be absorption of light. Who's going to do that? The pigment. The green pigment. Which is the green pigment? Chlorophyll. Alright. Further, the light energy is going to get converted into chemical energy. What was the chemical energy? C6H12O6. Correct? Next, splitting of water molecule. We saw carbon dioxide and water. Water got split. When you remember, you saw the product side, there was no water. Next, what else do you see? Reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. We saw the conversion of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Yes? Further, next what you see is a gaseous exchange. The gaseous exchange is nothing but the exit of oxygen during photosynthesis and the entry of carbon dioxide. So you're exchanging. Now think about it. Chlorophyll is absorbing the light. But how is the gases coming inside and going outside? Through the leaves. Do not forget that. Very important, children. Stomata. That is the site which is going to do exchange of gases. You must have studied stomata also does transpiration, removal of the excess of water, correct? Which is absolutely right. We are going to see transpiration also, but it is the site for gaseous exchange. Okay, keep this in mind, children. Further, please remember, now here water is also lost. From where again? Stomata. Easy? Can you relate to it? So see, stomata is involved for photosynthesis. Further, opening and closing of the stomata is what is going to regulate it. This is where I see some students missing the point. You cannot forget mentioning opening and closing, children. Stomatas cannot always be open, because if they are always open, there will be excess of loss of water. So for them to open and close, there is a mechanism that is carried out in the plants, but keep this in mind, stomatal pores are not always open. I'm going to show you how it looks like when it is open. Here, observe this. Can you see the gap? Pore. See that? Stomatal pore. And if you see these bean-shaped cells, they are nothing but the guard cells. Here, they have collapsed. So basically, it's closed. Are you getting this? Alright, so remember, stomata, it is through the stomatal pores that you will see exchange of gases and also loss of excess of water. Further, children, they are found in the leaves. So don't miss that point. Next, you're looking at heterotrophic nutrition. What is heterotrophic nutrition? See, autotrophic nutrition, they can make their own food. Heterotrophic nutrition is basically that mode of nutrition where organisms obtain their food from outside. They cannot prepare their own food. Okay, so don't think that just because you can make noodles in 3 and 4 minutes or your mama is cooking in the kitchen, you guys are not autotrophic. We are still heterotrophic. We do not have pigments like chlorophyll who can trap light. And remember, photosynthesis also gets the term photo because of light. Alright, next, heterotrophic. Let's focus on this. This is the mode of nutrition where organisms derive their nutrition by ready-made food. They do not make it by themselves. Alright, from where are they getting? From other dead or living plants and animals. Alright, so here what we see is that animals and fungi and most of the bacteria are all going to be heterotrophs. It's just the green plants and some blue-green algae. They are the ones which will be autotrophic. Others are all heterotrophic. What we observe here in heterotrophic nutrition, children, is please focus this. They will be breaking down their food outside the body, or some of them will be breaking down the food inside the body. So we have variations in heterotrophic nutrition. Don't think that everyone is going to have the same mode. Remember, everybody will have a different way of obtaining their food. Keep this in mind. So here, please remember, children, some organisms will break down their food outside the body like fungi does, right? Mushrooms, molds, and some will take their food inside and the digestion will happen inside like most of the animals do. Clear? Further, you also have some will consume without killing. Hair lice, if you have had hair lice, or ticks on your pets, if you've seen, they don't kill their prey, but they directly take digested food from the blood, right? Let's go further. We'll see them individually also later. Keep this in mind, children. We already know that unicellular organisms are taking food by their entire surface. They are not photosynthetic. They are still going to take their food from the outside environment. How? We're going to see soon. Now, in multicellular organisms, complexity increases. So we already know there are specialized parts. So when you see heterotrophic mode of nutrition, we will see that depending on what kind of complexity is in that organism, that will be the mode chosen. Starting with holozoic. Holozoic means literally whole. You ingest, put it inside your mouth, okay? You ingest the nutrition and the animals will take all the complex solid food whole. That's why holozoic, keep that in mind. Use that as a trick. Do not try and by heart. Don't mug up. Do not by heart. We are not parrots, okay? So, holozoic, whole. They're taking the food whole. Ingesting. Do not write consuming. You have to use the word ingesting, okay? They're ingesting the whole food. Breakdown is going to happen outside the body or inside? Breakdown is going to happen inside the body. Like humans, cows, most of the animals. Easy? Next. Saprophytic, which is also considered as a type of a nutrition where the organisms are going to obtain their food from decaying organic matter, dead and decaying. Okay, so here what are you looking at? Certain bacteria, certain fungi. So here they don't have a proper digestive system to break down their food inside. Okay, what do they have? They can consume the food, but the food has to be digested outside the body, which is why dead and decaying. It's already breaking down. Decomposing food is what they consume. So examples, fast, saprophytic, remember saprophytic, dead, decaying. Example, fungi. At least remember fungi. Do not make a spelling mistake. Keep that in mind. Then you've got parasitic. Parasitics can be two types. Ecto, outside the body, or endoparasite. The parasites which live inside the body. They do not kill their host. They directly suck blood. They get the digested food from the host's body. Okay. So if somebody has hair lice, the body is the host and the lice is the parasite. Because it is outside the body, it becomes ectoparasite. ECTO, ecto. Alright. And if it is inside, it will be endo. Like tapeworm, helminthes, roundworm, the worms which are found in your gut. Okay. So here keep in mind, children, what is the mode of nutrition in parasites? These derive nutrition from other plants or animals. Yes, plants also, do not forget to mention that. Plants or animals, but they do not kill them without killing them. Do not forget to mention this. Example, please write down anything that you are very sure about. I would suggest and strongly recommend write cascata, ticks, lice, leeches, tapeworms, whichever spelling you are very confident with. Okay? Let's go further. Now when you take a look at the entire detail of nutrition in humans, we'll focus on this. Humans have a holozoic mode of nutrition. Keep this in mind. What is the process of digestion? What is the definition that is expected? Definition you have to write as per given in the textbook. Do not miswriting definitions. They fetch marks. Okay. So here breakdown of complex organic substances with the help of enzymes, okay, into simple soluble inorganic molecules. Alright, what we see is food is going to be chewed with the help of teeth and the tongue is going to help mix it, correct? You will have saliva by the salivary gland to soften the food and the teeth will further crush it. Saliva also has an enzyme which will help start the process of digestion. So technically digestion will begin in the mouth. Remember this. Okay. Now let's see the steps of holozoic nutrition. Just ignore this. I will write this down for you. Ingestion, we know it is going to be consumed inside the mouth. Ingestion. Second, digestion. It's inside. Now it has to be digested, broken down, break down. Okay, break down. Why are you breaking down? It's a large food molecule. If you have a slice of pizza, imagine, do you think you can shove the whole slice of pizza all the way down through your stomach, through your esophagus? No. You need your teeth to crush it down, but even the crushed food that is going through the esophagus into the stomach is still big. Still needs further breaking down so that it can be absorbed by the cells of the body. Right? Yes? Focus. Digestion. Okay. So ingestion, put the food in your mouth. Digestion in the stomach, breakdown. Then absorption. Once the food is digested, it is going to be absorbed in the intestine. Do not forget this. Alright, intestine is where your a major chunk of absorption takes place. So all the nutrients that was provided by the digestive system is going to be absorbed where? Intestine. Important to remember for exams. Absorption will largely take place in the intestine. Okay. Further, assimilation. Now, quick, what is assimilation? Sometimes children get confused. Absorption, assimilation. Children, absorption is absorbing the broken down nutrients. Assimilation is distributing them to the other cells. Right? So remember, absorbed food will be taken up by the body cells for releasing energy. Clear? Last point, I'm sorry it is covering here, but just stay focused, not very complicated. I'll write it for you. It is egestion. All the waste will be eliminated from the body through the anus. That is egestion. We are going to highlight egestion again. So starting with ingestion, ending with egestion. Okay. Alright, now go further. Let's take a look at this now. We are looking at the movement of food from your mouth downwards. So we know now, you take the food, you put it in your mouth. See, if you think that how is digestion beginning in your mouth? See, chew something. Take a sandwich, take a pizza, take anything you have. Take something healthy, put it in your mouth, chew it. Once you chew it, spit it out. Does it look the same? It won't. It has broken down. How? With the help of your teeth. Your tongue rotated it. Saliva made it soft. There was certain enzyme which started acting on it. Now that broken down food, it's not completely broken down, is going to go down your esophagus. But that food which you have just chewed is still big. So when your esophagus, if you observe, in fact, esophagus is a tubular organ. I'm going to show you in a bit. So tubular organ, and that food chunk going down will be passing slowly. Okay, so it's like it will expand, relax as it is going down. That is what we know as peristalsis. Peristalsis, note the spelling down. Do not make a mistake. I see mistakes happening. Peristalsis. Peristalsis. Break it. Peristalsis. Okay. So peristalsis is nothing but the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the tubular muscles seen in the esophagus. It's a tubule. It's like a tube. Okay. Now, what does it do? We already know it will properly reach the stomach. Now, from the mouth, we are seeing the travel happening through the esophagus, which is also known as food pipe. But in exam, you are not going to write food pipe, you are going to write esophagus. Further, once it reaches the stomach is your J-shaped organ. This J-shaped organ is the one which will expand when the food enters. Okay, keep this in mind. Further, what also you see is this J-shaped organ will have certain digestive juices. We are going to see what are those digestive juices because there will be question based on that. Look at this. Hydrochloric acid 1, pepsin 2, and mucus. Now these are secreted by the glands present inside the stomach, which are called as gastric gland. Alright, so what are gastric glands? Are the glands found in the stomach. You can get a question on this. What are the secretions from the gastric gland? Repeat after me. Hydrochloric acid. Most of the time children write it as HCl. I would suggest you have to write hydrochloric acid and then HCl in the bracket if you want, or HCl and hydrochloric acid in the bracket, but you have to mention both. Pepsin is an enzyme. Remember, enzymes are they are the unsung heroes of your body. Most of the work are carried out by enzymes, but we don't really have a chapter dedicated to enzymes. Okay, so pepsin, please remember the word pepsin. Mucus. Okay, now let's see how they are released and what their function is. So HCl creates an acidic medium. It's an acid. So pH of the stomach, if you see, is going to be around 2. pH around 2. This facilitates the action of pepsin. So it's literally like pepsin in the stomach is in a sleeping form, inactive form. Just ignore this, children, 1 second. So pepsin is basically in a sleeping form as pepsinogen. It's in a sleeping inactive state. So when HCl is secreted, you're literally waking it up. Come on, start doing the work. So when it gets active, we call it pepsin. Okay, pepsin. So pepsin basically will be the one who will be doing the work of digesting proteins. Okay, keep this in mind. Now we also see that if it's acidic and if pepsin is doing digestion, the walls of your stomach are also made up of proteins and certain nutrients, and also acid. Too much of exposure to that acidic medium can also harm the inner lining of the stomach. Correct? So what you see is that this mucus will protect the inner lining of the stomach. Alright? Clear, everyone? Please remember this. Note this down. Okay? You have got what are the secretions of the gastric gland? Children, fast. HCl, pepsin, mucus. HCl, pepsin, mucus. Mucus will protect the inner lining of the stomach from the action of HCl. Easy? HCl is released to activate pepsin. Pepsin will bring about digestion. Clear? If there is an excess of acid generation, secretion, for example, you have eaten too much of food, so too much of acid is secreted, too much of HCl causes a sensation called as burning sensation, condition called as acidity, or if you're thinking about food and you've not eaten much, that will also create an imbalance in your acidic secretions. Clear everyone? Let's go further now. We see after the stomach there is a continuity towards the small intestine. This is a highly convoluted structure where maximum absorption of the digestive nutrients is going to take place. Alright, so here digestion is still going on along with absorption. Okay, so small intestine is one of the most one of those areas which is doing multiple work. It is doing digestion and it is also doing absorption together to work. So here what are we looking at? Nutrients like carbohydrate, proteins as well as fats are going to get digested. But remember, what did I say? Enzymes are unsung heroes. Unsung meaning the heroes who are doing the work but nobody is praising them. So here we don't have any chapter for enzymes, but they are the ones who are doing the work. So similarly, small intestine also have enzymes, but these enzymes are added or sent to it from the pancreas, and there is something called as bile which is coming from the liver. Okay, so we're going to see those three enzymes soon. For now, let's see liver. Liver is a very important organ when you see the human body. In fact, all are, but when you look at digestive system, liver is one of those organs which has multiple functions. But keep in mind, children, when you talk about your salivary gland, when you talk about liver and also pancreas, these three are considered as your digestive glands. Just ignore that, please. Let's continue. They are called as the digestive glands. Okay, so what are your three digestive glands? Quickly, you have got salivary gland, liver and pancreas. Alright, further, let's take a look at this. What is liver doing? Liver secretes bile. B-I-L-E, bile. This bile is stored in the gallbladder. Okay, bile is stored in the gallbladder. But what does bile do? Bile is basically going to do something called as emulsification of fats. Fat molecules are big. They need to be broken down more and more and more. Bile helps. Okay, bile is the one who is going to be doing the breaking down of fats, which is what we call as emulsification of fats. Clear everyone? Further, it also increases the efficiency of the enzymes which are functioning. Do not forget that this digested food which is coming from the stomach is coming from an acidic medium. Correct? It was acidic in the stomach, but when it is entering the small intestine, it is an alkaline medium. The pH in the stomach is around 2, but pH in the small intestine is around 8, all thanks to bile. Easy? Keep this in mind, children. Please make a note of this. So please note, children, the acidic food from the stomach is made alkaline with the help of bile. You make it the function of bile. What is the function of bile? 1, emulsification of fats. 2, it helps in making the environment alkaline. Clear everyone? Let's go further. Try to recollect these, children. Let's focus on pancreas now. We saw salivary gland that is releasing an enzyme. That enzyme, I'm going to tell you what the name is. We saw stomach. Stomach also has an enzyme. We already saw it's pepsin. And now we are looking at the enzymes from the pancreas. Pancreas will release the enzyme. It will be in the small intestine. Okay, functioning will be in the small intestine. So here what are you looking at? Is the pancreas also secretes a pancreatic juice. Like liver was secreting bile, this is secreting a pancreatic juice. Now in this juice, it will have enzymes like trypsin, pepsin, trypsin. Okay, pepsin in the stomach, trypsin in the small intestine, released by pancreas. Next, you also have lipase And then let's not forget a very important one which I have not written it down is pancreatic. Let's say pancreatic amylase. The screen is also very excited to study, so it's moving. Now, pancreatic amylase. This is the enzyme which is also going to help in the process of digestion. Okay, digesting what? Because if you see here, I have mentioned that lipase will digest, trypsin will digest proteins. Lipase is going to digest or help in the emulsification of fats. Pancreatic amylase is going to help in the digestion of carbohydrates. And the enzyme in the saliva is salivary amylase, which is also going to help in digestion of carbohydrates. So you see, they are working as a team. I hope you remember. Now again, 3 glands: salivary gland, liver, pancreas. Salivary gland has salivary amylase. Liver, we know, bile juice, bile. And you've got pancreas, which has got these 3 enzymes. One is trypsin, lipase, pancreatic amylase. Clear? You have to write these down. Remember this, children. But now also you are expected to know proteins. Now we know that stomach is doing some digestion. What is so great in small intestine? You are expected to know this. Proteins will be digested into amino acid, or they'll be broken down. They'll be further broken down into amino acid. Complex carbohydrates will be converted into different forms of carbohydrate, basically glucose, fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Keep in mind, digested food is going to be absorbed from the walls of the small intestine. So we saw all those parts. Let's quickly label, because there is a possibility that you may get a diagram. They may ask you what is A, what is B, what is C. So let's start labeling. Let's start off with, you already know this is the mouth. Okay, we already know ingestion is going to take place through the mouth. Easy. Further, you know, let's go line wise. One thing what I want you people to learn is, most of the times when we see children doing labeling, we do not want to see crisscross and designs on it. Label systematically, children. Start from the first, go order wise. If the labelings are on both the sides, distribute it evenly. Don't make it haphazard. At the same time, if it is only on one side, labelings are only on one side, then make sure that you are using only one side of the paper. Okay. See, if the liver is that side, you don't have to draw all the way like some map. Liver is here, you can label liver here. Alright. You do not have to do all this crisscross. So, what I said is, let's go line wise. So, we'll just start with this. You've got esophagus. Another important point about labeling, keep it in caps, keep it in capital. Don't write cursive. You will score well if you having clear handwriting. Examiner can understand it faster. Correct? It will be easier. Legible. Keep it legible. You've got liver. This is the liver. Then you've got the pancreas. Again, let's come this side. Easy? You've got, these are your small intestine. The diagrams are. Here. I hope you are getting this. And you've got your large intestine. You can switch it here. And finally, do not forget the anus. Other than writing it in capital and writing it presentable, do not crisscross your lines. Try to keep your labeling lines straight. Arrows should be pointing to the structure. Please make sure that your arrows are, proper. Do not make arrows like this, big giant sized ones, which are like this, running off somewhere. We don't want that. Keep it nice and neat. Make your arrows nice and neat. Alright. Next. while we are looking at all these structures, let's finish off the important section of the small intestine, which were the finger-like projections. Beautiful little villi. Villi are those tiny little finger-like projections. Yes, you may get question on this. You may be asked the function of a villi, where it is, how does it look, or where is it found. Okay, so when you see this, children, finger-like projections found on the inner lining of the small intestine. Alright, easy? Okay, villi. Inside the villi, you have blood vessels, and remember, there are millions of villi. Do not think there is just one. Okay, millions of villi which contain blood vessels. All of them are going to do absorption of food and nutrients. See, we started small intestine this way, correct? Small intestine is digesting as well as absorbing. So who is helping digestion in small intestine? Enzymes coming from pancreas and the bile from liver. These two are helping digestion in the small intestine. Absorption is done by villi, these finger-like projections. Easy, easy? Good. Now when you go further, if you are not understanding, please reread, go back, look at it again. Now here, let's see this. You will also see that there are wear and tear of tissues also taking place. You don't have to write it in your answers, but for villi, you are expected to write they are finger-like projections, millions, inside the inner lining of the small intestine. Do not just write present in the small intestine. Inner lining of the small intestine. Okay. Next, when you are looking at the food or looking at all the digested material which is crossing from the small intestine, students, you are expected to know what happens next. You are expected to write it. So unabsorbed food, don't just write food, unabsorbed, undigested. That food is going to be moving to the large intestine. And see how efficient your body is. In the large intestine, there will be absorption of water. Which is why if you see, sometimes if you are constipated, you are told to drink water. Because our body needs water for a normal functioning. Okay, so if there is a poor intake of water, you will expect constipation, because your water is going to get reabsorbed in the large intestine. Okay, so drink water, keep yourself hydrated for a good bowel movement. Remember, remaining waste material is removed from the body via anus. Okay, anus is literally the exit of your digestive system. Anus will have a sphincter. Sphincters are like walls there, like doors. Okay, they are voluntary, they are in control. Alright, so these are sphincters, they are called as anal sphincters. Done? Okay, so easy recap, children, easy recap of the digestive system. Before we exit the digestive system, we also should take a look at the villi. Let's understand this. Villi, finger-like projection, let's keep it capital. Alright, and if you can see, these are the blood vessels inside, capillaries. Okay, we already know this is the anus. We have seen that in the other diagram, but you have to remember they are present on the inner lining of the small intestine. Where are they present? Inner lining of the small intestine. Have to write that. If you are asked a question on villi, present in the inner lining of the small intestine, finger-like projections. Easy. That's a good recap of digestive system. It was quick and fast. Okay. Now let's move to respiration. Just remember, children, your body needs energy to survive. Even your heart to beat, you need energy. So when you're eating food, that food is like a treasure chest. Keep this in mind. So you have put food, you sent a lot big basket full of treasure chests. So your digestive system had made them smaller chests, treasure chest. Okay, like boxes. Now these boxes are going to be distributed to all the parts of the body, but they cannot be opened. They need a key, and that key is oxygen, largely. Okay, and that oxygen is supplied to the rest of the body by a process called as respiration. But remember, children, respiration and breathing are different. Okay, breathing is a physical mechanical process. Do not write respiration as breathing of gases. No. Respiration is a process where we see the release of energy. So that little key that I was talking about, that oxygen, when it is going into that box, that treasure chest, which the digestive system sent, that process, when you open it, that process is respiration. Okay, that oxygen breaking down or releasing the energy from food or the digested food is respiration. Breathing is literally exchange of gases, where you use your lungs and your diaphragm to take in air, inhale and exhale. Okay, exhale is expiration or releasing of carbon dioxide and water vapor. Okay, where we'll go to that as well. Please remember, children, so you talk about respiration. If you get a definition of respiration, you're expected to write that it is the release of energy. Okay, going further, so organisms will use oxygen for what? To break down glucose. So if you're breaking it down, something is going to come out of it, which is carbon dioxide and water. Now think, you exhale. When you are exhaling, what is coming out? Carbon dioxide and water. Isn't it? Try to link it. These processes, biology is not, north and south. Everything is interconnected. All these processes are dependent on each other. Okay. So digestion will supply the food. This process of respiration will release the energy from the food, and the byproducts, oxygen and carbon dioxide, will be exhaled. Okay. Please remember, in all types of respiration, there are two basic types which you're going to see now. First step is the breakdown of glucose, because that's what your digestive system is sending, glucose. So this glucose, which has got 6 carbon, this will be broken down. So literally breaking down, see 6 carbons, you break it down, divide it into 2, what are you going to get? When you're dividing it into 2, you get 3 carbons, 3, and that 3 carbon compound is called as pyruvate. Alright, so this breaking down is taking place inside the cytoplasm. Keep this in mind, children. Alright, everyone. So this process where oxygen has entered, or even if it has not entered, right now just think about this. Glucose has entered the cell. In the cytoplasm, that 6 carbon glucose is broken down into 2. Okay, into 2 pyruvate. 2 pyruvate compound. And each pyruvate will have 3 carbons. Easy? But you have to keep in mind, where is it taking place? It is taking place in the cytoplasm. So this is the fate. This is the fate of glucose everywhere. Okay, it's a little blurred right now. Try to focus. I hope you people can see it clearly. Okay. So here glucose, 6 carbon compound. Yeah. C6H12O6. If you are wondering what am I talking about, and if you are thinking, oh, this we got from photosynthesis. Yes, even plants will do the same thing. Okay, we are going to see different modes though. But yes, main thing is this breakdown of glucose will take place even in plant cells. Okay, further everyone, once this glucose is broken down into 2 molecules, 2, okay, remember this, because it's 6, no? So, 3 carbon compound, 2. What can happen with pyruvate? Please remember, this is given in your NCERT textbooks. Here what we see is this pyruvate, if, so these are 3 fates, 3 situation. If there is no oxygen, this pyruvate will be converted or will give out ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy. See, that's the main thing. That's the reason why you even have glucose. You want energy. That's why digestion was taking place. Food source was sent into your body to get energy. Correct? So when there is no oxygen, there will be some energy released and ethanol as well as carbon dioxide. And this you generally and largely see in case of yeast. Please remember this. You can get a question. What is the fate or what is the byproduct produced in yeast after respiration? Ethanol, carbon dioxide, energy. Sometimes we see answers, they have written ethanol and carbon dioxide, which is good. But what about energy? That was the whole purpose of respiration, to get energy. Okay. Further look in humans. Now in human beings, if you are wondering why lack of oxygen, see, there can always be possibilities why oxygen supply may have reduced, slowed down. See, for example, athletes who run a lot. So if they're running a lot and running for a very long time, what happens? The blood supply, the demand of blood supply is fast. If it slows down, they can experience cramps, correct? They can experience that immediate supply of blood will not really happen. That requirement that is needed might not be met. So in such cases, there can be this lack of oxygen, because oxygen is present in the blood. Blood is the one transporting everything, food, blood, everything. Okay. So here what we see, if there is a lack of oxygen, in case of human muscle cells, there will be lactic acid but energy. See, look how efficient your body is. It will still try to do something. Okay. Next, if there is oxygen, there will be a lot of energy and the normal process of carbon dioxide and water. But now what you are supposed to remember, children, very, very important. This release of energy, if in the presence of oxygen, will take place in the mitochondria. Try to recollect, mitochondria was called as the powerhouse of the cell in your lower classes, correct? Why? Because it is producing a lot of or releasing a lot of energy. And how? Because oxygen is going there. Think of mitochondria as oxygen's office. So oxygen will go and work only in mitochondria. Okay. And here glucose, the breakdown of glucose will happen in the cytoplasm. You have to remember this. Very, very, very important. Alright, children. I hope you are getting it. Let's proceed further. And please, I'm hoping you people are also making a note of that particular image. Now, depending on the availability of oxygen, children, we see two types of respiration. Note this down. You can have aerobic respiration or you can have anaerobic respiration. Keep it simple. Don't complicate it. Do not make it too, elaborate also. Very concise, very precise. But having said this, students, remember, if you know some points, easy ones, sometimes children do that. Okay, difference between, I'll write the easy points first. Students, weightages are significant. Your important points are the ones which will give you marks. Okay, so here let's start. Aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen. Okay, so whenever there is oxygen and there is a release of energy from glucose, that means it is aerobic. And in the absence, anaerobic. I'm sure most of you find this a very easy point. Aerobic, anaerobic. Okay, and if you think I cannot remember, ma'am, anaerobic has N, so no, N for no oxygen. Okay, so aerobic has, there is no, so it has oxygen. So aerobic, oxygen, presence of oxygen, anaerobic, absence. Further, aerobic respiration can take place largely in the mitochondria. So you can write mitochondria, but to avoid any form of confusion, I have still mentioned cytoplasm. You stick to mitochondria. But if you look at anaerobic respiration, it will only take place in the cytoplasm, not in the mitochondria. In aerobic respiration, there will be complete breakdown of glucose molecule. Completely, full use. That full glucose will be used to release energy, but here there will be incomplete breakdown, which is why we see lactic acid getting generated. Okay. Next, carbon dioxide and water are the byproducts. We already saw. Here you will have carbon dioxide, you will have lactic acid as well. But let's not forget energy. Look at the difference. You have to mention this. Aerobic respiration is generating a lot of energy. ATP, what is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate, energy currency of the cell. If you look at anaerobic, only 2 ATP, but aerobic 38. So think about it. What do you think multicellular complex organisms will need? Aerobic or anaerobic? Think. Don't by heart. Don't mug up. Think. 38. We have so many functions going on. We have a lot of activities going on. We need a lot of energy. Okay. So having said this, take a look at this now. What was ATP? We see that ATP is nothing but adenosine triphosphate. Okay, I should have written it there, but just try to look at it here. Okay, adenosine triphosphate. Tri means 3 phosphate molecules. Okay, children. But when you see ATP, how does body make that and how does that happen? So you have certain compounds present. Please keep this in mind. Adenosine diphosphate. 2 di. When 2 combine with an individual phosphate, you will see the formation of ATP. Even when you see breakdown, it goes in a similar fashion. Okay, ATP will be broken down in such a way that from ATP, when it breaks down, it will become ADP, diphosphate. From tri, it becomes di, and then from there you can see it becoming AMP, mono. Okay, clear? Let's go further. Now, we know respiration in humans. Okay, you saw respiration in humans. Let's just get a gist of respiration in plants as well, and then we'll take a look at certain structures. Okay, so here in plants, we already know that stomata is carrying out certain functions. I think the slide has also moved in a little faster, but nevertheless, since we are here, let me see this. Yeah, okay, I'll go to that in the last one. See this. In respiration, what are you looking at? Plants will also need energy, even though they are not running around, even though you may think, okay, so plant is not doing a lot of activity. It doesn't have a heart to beat, it doesn't have running or locomotion to do, so maybe it needs less energy. So does it do anaerobic respiration? Children, it does both. Keep this in mind, okay? But first what you need to know is, this is seen in the stomata because there is literally exchange of gases happening through stomata. Do not forget that. Apart from that, you have to remember, during the day, see, you have heard that, okay, respiration, plants are the ones who are releasing oxygen during the day, and they release carbon dioxide during the night. See, plants are living organisms. They are doing respiration throughout the day. They are releasing carbon dioxide throughout the day. But because there is photosynthesis also taking place during the day, the amount of carbon dioxide released becomes a little insignificant. Okay, so for now just remember it that way, but please note, carbon dioxide formed by respiration during the day will be used for photosynthesis. So which is why we don't see the significant contribution into the environment. Next, but at night we see that this carbon dioxide is directly released into the environment, and there is no photosynthesis at night, so no oxygen is coming out. So plant is largely only releasing carbon dioxide during night. Further, other organisms, this is an important question again. We have to go a little fast so that you can get as much of quick recap in today's session as possible. Okay. Having said this, look, aquatic. We have looked at animals which are basically terrestrial, who are on land. They are getting oxygen from the environment, correct, from air, right? But aquatic animals, aquatic organisms get oxygen dissolved in water. The medium is different. Because the medium is different, their anatomical structure will be different. If you look at terrestrial organisms, terrestrial land dwellers, they will have lungs, correct? They will have certain structures which can bring about that exchange. But in case of aquatic organisms, you will largely see fishes with gills or gill slits. These gills or gill slits will be covered by a small flap of muscle called as operculum. Okay, so when they are breathing, what do you see? That the fishes were often opening and closing their mouth, correct? And if you see their operculum, okay, it will also show a little bit of flapping happening, correct? Yes or no? Try to recollect this. So here when you see them taking in water from their mouth, it is getting pumped through their gills, and all the dissolved oxygen is being taken up in their bloodstream. So it's going fast, water entry, and then the gills are contributing towards that facilitated respiration. Amount of dissolved oxygen obviously is going to be lower as compared to air, because this oxygen is in a gaseous state. So terrestrial organisms are seen to be having more oxygen intake as compared to the aquatic organisms, okay, and which is why we see that they will be breathing quite faster. See, the rate of breathing in these aquatic organisms is faster. Clear, everyone? So again, why is the rate of breathing or seen to be faster in aquatic organisms? Because oxygen dissolved in water is less. The concentration of oxygen in water is lesser than the concentration of oxygen in air. Okay, so terrestrial organisms get more oxygen supply in while breathing as compared to aquatic. So that's the reason why they have to keep taking more water. Significantly important, please remember that. Further, we have already known about terrestrial. Please note the organs that are required for breathing in terrestrial organisms is going to be basically lungs. Okay, so read this. There are different types of organs to breathe the atmospheric oxygen, and keep in mind these structures are present in the body in such a way that the surface area should be big enough for the exchange of gases to take place. Here we also should see that an easy exchange is facilitated. You cannot expend a lot of energy, or you cannot expend a lot of structures just for a longer exchange. Now, having said this, take a look at this faster. Lungs and the air pathways. We are going to focus on the human respiratory system right now. So air, what we see is it starts from the nostrils. So if you look at your nostrils, if you just go in front of the mirror right now, and not right now, after the class is over, you just push your finger up, you can see that your nostril is going to have some air. If you have stuck your finger inside, you will see some a moist environment inside your nose, correct? So what is happening here? The air is passing through the nostril. This nostril is going to have fine hair and mucus to ensure that the dust particles do not go inside your system. Okay. Next, conduction of air through the passages is a very important flow. So once you are seeing it go inside the nose, look at the passage. Nasal passage. This is your nasal passage. From there it is going to cross the pharynx and the larynx. Trachea, windpipe, like esophagus was your food pipe, this is your windpipe, bronchi, bronchioles, and then it finally enters the lung. Do not worry, we are going to see the structure also. We are going to come back to this point of the ring of the cartilage. I am going to discuss about this as well in a bit. Here, take a look at this structure, children. You've got the ribs, ignore the pointing right now, these are the ribs. Okay, they are the skeletal structure. And then you can see, okay, there has been some error in this, just ignore that now. Okay, so here the labeling has not gone all the way here, just ignore that for now, small mistakes are here. Trachea, this is your trachea. Actually, one second, let me label it proper. So the arrows have not gone in. This is your trachea. Alright, it has got C-shaped cartilaginous rings. As you can see, the bronchi and the bronchioles, the labelings have shifted. Okay, these are the bronchioles, your lungs, the ribs, your diaphragm. Okay, here children, just ignore the mistakes, focus on the functions. These are your tracheas, windpipe. They will have C-shaped cartilaginous rings. These cartilaginous rings will prevent the collapsing of the windpipe. What you observe is that the passage is going to go through here, the bronchi and bronchioles, and finally enters the lungs. When you see the entry in the lungs, inside the lungs, now keep in mind children, your nasal passage, your trachea, bronchi and bronchioles, these are all passage, these are all pathway. Okay, the exchange of gases is not happening in any of these structures. Keep that in mind. You may get certain questions with respect to that point. Inside the lungs, you will have these air sacs called as alveoli. These alveoli are where the gaseous exchange takes place. Okay, the gaseous exchange is going to take place in the alveoli. This alveoli, please note, is going to be surrounded by a network of blood vessels, which we call as capillaries. Okay. So if you see alveoli, these balloon-like structures, and these are capillaries. Easy, children? These capillaries are the ones which are going to carry the blood. This blood is the one which is going to be taking in the oxygen and releasing out the carbon dioxide. How that happens? We are going to see the details in transportation. Okay, so further, what are you supposed to remember? The breathing in and out happens through the diaphragm. See, children, when you are breathing in, you are inhaling. That inhaling happens all thanks to the diaphragm. How so? If you look at the structure here, this diaphragm is this dome-shaped muscle. This is a horizontal muscle in your body. Your body is so beautifully designed. In fact, all living organisms, this diaphragm is horizontal. It is dome-shaped, dome. Okay. So when you are inhaling, it will be flat. Why? Because when you are inhaling, it is giving more space inside the lungs for the air to fill. Okay. Now having said this, let's go further. What you see here is that the diaphragm will get flat when you are inhaling, and the chest cavity becomes gets more space for accommodating the air inside. Further, please note, the blood brings carbon dioxide from all the parts of your body, and it is through those capillaries that it is releasing that carbon dioxide into your alveoli. So while we are looking at the exit of oxygen from the alveoli, into the capillary. Correct? Yes or no? Oh, it's gone. 1 minute. Capillaries. Okay? And what happens in case of carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide is basically entering inside the capillaries. Is it? No. We are looking at carbon dioxide is basically removed. So I guess I should probably maybe this is better. Yeah. So here, children, capillaries will release the carbon dioxide into the alveoli, and alveoli will give it here. Easier? Clear, everyone? Alright. So here, children, oxygen in the alveoli is taken up by blood. Alright. And that blood is going to then get transported to the different parts of the body. Easy? I hope you people are all getting this, and all the revision is happening. Hoping this is making it easier. Let's see the further structures, children. Just in case you people are still having some doubts about why is it that we need such a complicated structure, please remember, diffusion, exchange of gases in a single cell organism will take place through diffusion. Okay, that is direct exchange because the body is in direct contact. But in multicellular organisms, we already know that you need a proper respiratory system. So here, that respiratory system is going to also need some special structure, like we saw in photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is that pigment which is trapping light. Similarly, you need somebody, imagine that there is a designated driver who is going to do pick up and drop. So that designated driver in your body happens to be hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is going to pick up oxygen from the lungs, give it to all the body part. It is going to pick up carbon dioxide from the body part and send it to the lungs. So that's what your hemoglobin is going to do. Okay. So this hemoglobin is what we call as the respiratory pigment. Note this down. Respiratory pigment, hemoglobin. Okay. Please note, it has an affinity for oxygen as well as carbon dioxide. Also keep in mind that while it has affinity means attraction, it has an attraction towards oxygen and carbon dioxide, which is why it can do a proper pick up and drop service. Alright, easy, children? Lastly, note carbon dioxide is more soluble in water, and which is why we see that it is easily transported in the blood, and which is what we are aware, blood has got a majority percentage is water, correct? Okay, now let's go further. If in case you are asked what are the disorders of the respiratory system, what affects, note down, tobacco or tobacco products can cause lung, heart and liver diseases. People, please note, it can also cause cancer. Oral cancer is also pretty common. Also, you are expected to know your respiratory tract has got hair-like structures called as cilia. So that cilia is the one which is going to get damaged or destroyed by repeated smoking. Clear? Further, what you are expected to know, in case you are asked what are the diseases that affect the respiratory system, lung cancer, write down lung cancer, and also make a note of this, write this down, emphysema, accumulation of fluid in the alveoli. So if alveoli is filled with fluid, oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange will not take place. Such people will show you purpling of the tips of the finger, purpling of the lips. Okay, so emphysema, but that's drastic. Okay, so emphysema and lung cancer. Note this down, children. These are the two disorders, respiratory disorders